with this. Marcus, you're going to be talking about our top story as well, Ukraine, and the fear is that the instability there is now having a real serious knock-on effect on the economy.
Yes, at least that it will have a serious knock-on effect on the Ukrainian economy. Standard & Poor's, for one, has cut Ukraine's credit rating by one notch. It seemed to highlight warnings that the political uncertainty in Ukraine could dent the country's economic prospects further. S&P says it's unclear how the standoff between Ukraine's president and the opposition will be resolved. Delana D'Souza has taken a closer look.
For over 2 months, protests like these have gripped Ukraine's capital. At the heart of the protests, the rejection of a free trade agreement with the European Union by Ukraine's president, Viktor Yanukovych. Ukraine's economy was in need of a recovery before the protests. Analysts say the situation has worsened the uncertainty.
There are indications that business activity, investment activity is getting slower because people are quite uncertain on what would come next and so on and so forth. So I believe that this political turmoil might have impact on GDP.
Ukraine came close to bankruptcy in 2013 before Russia stepped in with the controversial €11 billion bailout package. Protests in the capital have forced certain businesses and ministries to remain shut, fueling fears the unrest will force the economy to contract even further.
The economy can still revive because, fundamentally, Ukrainian economy still has a lot of long-term potential. But there should be some short-term pains, that's quite clear as well, because these imbalances, like exchange rate, like current account deficit, they should be corrected.
Currently, Kiev does not have a preferential trade agreement with Moscow. However, the country remains reliant on imports of Russian gas. Vying for closer ties with the EU, the opposition is looking to improve transparency and to change the way business is done.
OK, we're going to take a look at an economy further west now. The British economy expanded at its fastest pace since the financial crisis last year. The UK economy expanded by 1.9% to be specific on 2012. The British government says that the growth shows that its economic plan is working. Economists agree that the British recovery is gathering pace, but they also voice concerns of growing imbalances in the UK, including rapidly rising property prices. We're going to take a look at the stock markets next. For the past few sessions, worries about emerging markets have weighed on shares globally, but US stocks, they're rising for the first time in 4 sessions this Tuesday, with the Nasdaq only slightly above the flat line. A solid gain there, though, for the Dow Jones Industrial Average, up 0.5%. Investors in the United States, they're looking ahead to the result of a 2-day Federal Reserve meeting in Washington. European shares, they also recovered on Tuesday after hitting several week lows on Monday. The CAC 40 up 0.2%, whereas the DAX 30 in Frankfurt was up almost 8%. Let's bring you up to date with some corporate stories that we're watching for you this Tuesday. German shares, they were helped as Siemens reported a 20% rise in fourth quarter profits. The German company made just under 1.5 billion euros between October and December. Siemens makes products from trains to medical equipment, and it is seen as a German bellwether. The firm also warned of challenges ahead during its current financial year. Shares in Apple, they're falling on Wall Street after the company's first quarter results disappointed. The electronics giant made 13 billion euros during the quarter, or $13 billion, I should say, and it sold a record number of iPhones and iPads. Analysts had expected even higher sales figures, though, and Apple also issued a cautious outlook for the second quarter. And Apple shares, they're putting pressure on the Nasdaq, as you saw earlier. Here in France, employees at the mail-order firm REDOUTE have been protesting against job cuts. Several hundreds came out in the northern French city of Lille, accusing the luxury retailer KERING of betrayal. KERING is selling the loss-making operation, and the future owners of REDOUTE want to cut around 1,200 jobs. OK, we talked about the UK economy before, and even as that economy is perking up, the Queen's household is coming under pressure to become more efficient. Lawmakers say that the royal household needs to become more entrepreneurial even, and also to look at potential job cuts. A report from a British parliamentary committee also says that the household needs to needs more cash to repair crumbling palaces. One suggestion from the report is to open up Buckingham Palace in London to visitors more often. I suppose that's one way that you can get some more cash there for the royal household. Do you have any tips, Laura?
How about a cheaper brand of dog food for the corgis? Might save a few pennies.
You never know.
You never
yes,
know.
indeed, a few pennies.
Got tons of ideas. All right, Marcus, thank you very much for now. Marcus will be back later in the programme.